Hi there, I'm Cher, and this is Diary of a Pen Nerd. So today I have out my ink journal where I do my currently inked, I don't know. And I wanted to swatch all of my ink samples, which are right here. I like ink samples a lot, but this year I've been on a quest to use all of my bottles of ink, and in doing that, I haven't used my ink samples at all. Which is so sad because I know I have some really cool ink samples in here, so I wanted to go through and see what I have and maybe swatch them, and that will give me some ideas maybe for what I want to ink up in the coming months, and just good to have a inventory and keep track of them. I also think this is super fun so that once you use up an ink sample, you can still go back and see the swatch. But as for swatching tools, I just have my paintbrush and a jar of water for cleaning it, and my paper towel. This is an ink sample swatch I did forever ago because I had this sample of Organic Studios Santiago's Sea Blue, and I loved it so much. It's one of my favorite inks I've ever sampled, that I wanted to make sure that I wrote it down so that I wouldn't forget and I would have a reference, because this is one that I would love a full bottle of eventually. So I've got quite a few ink samples here. Most of them are from So and So because I really like chromo shading inks, and they had a lot of chromo shading inks. But other places I know that you can get ink samples are Venice, or that's actually the only one I'm thinking of off the top of my mind. But at least that one you don't have to pay for the international shipping if you're in the US. So and So is in Australia, ? So they did have international shipping. But we can get started. I think I kind of want to do this by brand. And I know that the brand I have the most of is Kitty Ink Pot. So if I gather up all of my Kitty Ink Pot inks, and then I do have one that is kind of wild looking. This was Butter and Strawberry Bagel, which is a really cool chromo shading ink, and it is dried up. I did not even realize that this had happened until I pulled out all of my ink samples, because usually they're in a drawer. I think I will try to revive it with some water. I don't know how successful that will be, but it is dried. So I don't know if I'll include that one in the swatch book or not. I feel like I had more of this one. Am I sure I got them all? Yeah, looks good. And because I don't remember what any of these look like, we're just gonna jump right in. This is Kitty Ink Pot Fluffy Wool Ball. And there we go. I know that on better paper than this ink looks more pink, but it will suffice for our purposes. I think what I'll do is I have all of the inks that I got from So and So. This is Kitty Inkpot Elegy of the Fallen. I remember this one being really gorgeous. Is I swatched them all on a piece of Tomoe River paper, so I might glue that in. Because this isn't the best paper for ink, but it is what I have and what I've been using. I see other people do a lot of really cool swatching, especially Julia from Julia here does a lot of cool swatching. My Dandelion Diaries does a lot of cool swatching. This is Caramel Almond Waffles. I think I need a little bit more on my paintbrush. And I want to do more ink swatching. And I would do that in this book as well. Caramel, almond, waffles. But my goal for today is literally just to make an inventory. And because my collection is so small and also does not change or grow very frequently, oh, this is gorgeous. Having like super high levels of organization, which I really admire in other people who've got like spreadsheets and everything's searchable and it's all super organized. I really admire that. It's just, this is letter from not a level of organization that I need for my purposes right now. This is Eternal Moon. Oh, that's also really pretty. I wonder if this would be a good orange for like a pumpkin. I find that I use the same colors at the same time of year over and over again. Like I'm always using my Dominant Industry Arizona Sky Citrus in autumn for pumpkins. I'm always using, it's really hard to talk and write at the same time. I'm always using Diamine Cozy Up in the winter. So I tend to be a repeat offender. I tend to gravitate to the same ink colors at the same times of year. Ooh, that was a lot of ink, actually. And I would like to be better about trying different colors because I have more in my collection. You know, case in point, all of these ink samples that I have not even touched all year. I tend to Biggie cat bottle. I tend to be more precious about my ink samples than my bottles because it's like if I have a 50 milliliter bottle, and I do have a couple of those, it feels like I could use it forever and ever and ever and never use it up. It feels like I'll have it forever. But like an ink sample, you can use, you know, a couple of times and then it's gone. And I understand that like the point of ink samples is to like sample the ink and see if you like it and maybe buy a full bottle afterwards. However, because I almost never buy ink, I sometimes like get very precious about, oh no, if I use this up, like I may not get it again. You know, case in point being this Organic Studio Santiago Sea Blue that I really loved, used up forever ago, and still don't have a bottle of. Or even just another ink sample of. I'm trying to figure out what else I want to put down here. Maybe I'll do Wearing Ghoul. No. I'm trying to figure out if there's a brand I just have like one or two of so that I can fill out this bottom space in my notebook. I do. This is Robert Oster Violet Dreams. I have used this one in a pen and I really liked it, I think. Or I might have had Robert Oster Sydney Lavender and really like that. I think this is a shimmer, so there should be, yeah, there it is. I have had Robert Oster Sydney Lavender in the past and really liked that one. That one is very gray. I have also had Robert Oster Cherry Blossom and I really liked that one too. These are all inks that I could potentially get a full bottle of. I'm going to skip this page and go straight to the next blank page, and I'm gonna go in with my Van Diemen's. There are so many inks from Van Diemen's that I would love to try. They just have so many like interesting ones. But I feel like a lot of their inks are also, or some of their inks at least, are like really light or too light to be readable, or they have like a really strong shimmer. This is Snowy Mountain Sunset, and it does have a strong shimmer. But I really like this one. I have had this one in a pen before. But I also really like the Van Diemen's Feline inks, and there's so many like interesting lines from Van Diemen's, I feel like. And then this is Underflow. This whole collection was chromo shading or dual shading. I don't know how much of it we'll see on this paper specifically, but I really liked a lot of the inks in this collection. I think this one I bought 2 samples of so that I could give one to my friend, because they also really liked the chromo shading on this ink. And then my last one from Van Diemen's is Last Light, which was from the same collection as Underflow. If you can't tell, I really love purple. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, wow, you have a lot of purple ink samples, I do. Surprisingly, I don't have very many purple ink bottles. Now we'll go into Wearing Ghoul. This is For Whom the Bell Tolls. I got this ink after I used up Santiago's Sea Blue, because I loved the, ooh, that's so beautiful. I love this like deep teal petrol-y color. And so I was trying a couple of different ones to see like what I really liked, and to see which one had like a good flow. And so this is an ink that I picked up to scratch at that itch. And now I have a bottle of J. Erbon's Emerald de Chivor. And that is my like deep teal ink bottle, I guess. Although I would not be opposed to getting more. This is I Am a Cat, which is a gray ink with a gold shimmer. Other things that I really try to keep in mind when I am looking to buy ink bottles is, what do I like already have in my collection? As in, like, if I already have a bottle that's really similar to this color, I'm less inclined to buy a full bottle of another similar color. And also the like size of the bottle. Sometimes I think about how much ink I have in my collection, which is a dangerous thing to do. This is Jane Eyre, another purple. Yeah, dangerous thing to do is think about how much ink you have in your collection, especially like in terms of maybe how long it might take you to use it all up. And then I think to myself, like, oh, I'm never gonna buy another bottle of ink ever again, which I think is quite unrealistic. So, but I do try to avoid getting like really big bottles. I prefer if it's a smaller, like 25 or 30 ml bottle. This is Li Ming Ink Studio Butterfly. And if it is a bigger bottle size, that is like a higher, like I have to really like that ink, because I know that in order to get through a bottle, like a 50 or 80 milliliter bottle, like that takes a lot of usage. So this is a really interesting ink. This is De Atramentis Heliogen Green Copper, and it's a green ink with a copper shimmer. It's very like it, I guess it's the name, but it does give me very like lab science vibes. I really want to ink this one up in October and do like a witch's cauldron theme with it, and I think that could be super cute in my bullet journal and something different. Because not only do I ink up the same inks every year at the same time, I do the same monthly themes in my bullet journal. And so I've done like the same kind of pumpkin doodles in my bullet journal for September, October for years. And so I would really like to, oh, this is pretty. I would really like to do a new theme and, you know, play with some other things. This is Tasia Hiroshige. Hiroshige? I don't know how you say that. There we are. Okay, only 2 more left. This one has been through the ringer. This is Monteverde Mulberry Noir. I do really like the Monteverde Noir line. I think that they have some really pretty inks. Oh, this is dark. I think this is one of my oldest ink samples, so it's possible that it's evaporated and thus condensed some. But I do really like the Mulberry Noir inks, or the Monteverde Noir inks. I really like these like dark shadowy colors too. And then our last ink sample is Hosea, The Sound of Flowers, which is, I think, another purple. And there we go. That is all of the ink samples I currently have in my collection, and this feels good to have them kind of all inventoried so that I can see what I have and go through and be able to pick something out. I've got some more ideas for like what I would like to ink up. And yeah, I had fun. I hope you did too. Thanks for tuning in to another transmission. Let me know how you categorize your ink samples, if you do, or if you've had any thoughts as I've rambled about my ink purchasing habits. Let me know, and I will have the next chapter of my story out soon. Bye for now. Love, share.